Everyone, and welcome to the ladies. Nope, I lied. I was about to say the Ladies Tale podcast, but unless my is my guest over here a director, an author, or a star, or a movie star, and I just don't know it? No, okay, never mind. So it's not the Ladies Tale podcast, y'all. This is what happens when you have four. I lied. I was about to say the Ladies Tale podcast, but unless my so apparently it is going to be the Anti Thought podcast. There we go. Yes, that's what it is. I think, if you do one early at 2, then it's the writers class. This one has to be, the Anti-Thought podcast. Let's keep it original with the flagship, y'all. Hi, I'm Winona, and I remember to introduce myself. I'm kind of freaking excited about this. Like, I feel like professionalism came to visit, and I'm kicking it out the door. Goodbye, professionalism. And I wrote books, and it's kind of a we thing, but as my narcissism inside of me is being annoyed by saying that I have to tell that other people wrote with me. So I'm going to go with I wrote books. Okay. There. And I thought divorce was bad. And I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir in verse, Foreign Coffee, Widow's Web, Widow's Debts. And those books are only the audiobooks. So you can get those audiobooks wherever you find audiobooks. By the way, because Jade just reminded me that I have been not saying this, our books are literary life guides. Just in case you're out there and you're like, all I want is for poetry to tell me what I should do with my life. That's us, y'all. Yeah, this space is like, I'm gonna help you get through life. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with we wrote books because you're not gonna trust this space. You're not here to hear about me. Go figure. Because I could talk about me all day and how cute I am, and this little swoosh right here, loving it. You're here to hear about our wonderful guests. Wonderful guests. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, sure, I will. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me on. I am Elsa Kurt. I am also an author. I'm also, ironically, a podcast host, um, and the one I'm always a little bit embarrassed to say, I'm also a social media content creator. To be more specific, yes, TikTok. Yes, I make a lot of stuff for TikTok. I do a lot of comedy sketches and original social commentary type of stuff. And yeah, so that's the baseline of what I do. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. You and I talked beforehand here a little bit about our ADHD and how we like to do lots and lots of different things. And I completely relate, but I won't go down the list.
Okay, because Jade always stops me from going down the list. I applaud anyone who wants to go down the list. If you would like to go down the list, go down the list.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That is so kind of you. Yeah. You know what? I'll kind of give you like this little brief timeline. I started off so I'm 52, and so I call myself a late bloomer. Thank you for making that face. I love you more than life for making that face when I said that. That's what you're supposed to do, people. That's the face you make when a woman says that to you, just so we all know. But I'm a late bloomer for in the creative arts. I wrote my first book at age 42, and I thought it was going to be a one and done. I thought it was a little children's book, and I thought, okay, I just got it out of my system. I purged it. I'm good. I don't feel the need to do it anymore. Within days, I was like, no, I got to write another one. Yeah, I got to write another one. And about 25 or so books later, I decided, thanks to COVID, and I kind of mean that in sincerity. Rarely do we ever say thank you to COVID for anything, right? But I'm going to give a nod to the COVID because it put that ridiculous app, TikTok, in front of my face. And thousands of trapped in your homes, bored adults, we started taking over TikTok from all the little kids who originally dominated the platform, which I never had even heard of it before. And I did what a lot of people did. I started watching, and I'm watching videos and chuckling and going, well, I'm never going to make a video. It's never going to happen. And then that turned into, well, I'll just make just one silly little video. And now I couldn't even possibly tell you how many videos are on there. And if anybody wants to see them, I am the other Elsa on TikTok. And the reason I call myself the other Elsa is because every time I tell somebody my name is Elsa, they go, oh, like Elsa from Frozen. And I always say, no, the other Elsa. So that's why I'm the other Elsa over there. But yeah, that's been taking up a lot of time and energy and taking me away from writing a little bit. But I will get back. I will get back to the writing. And oh, okay. So I'm supposed to be going down the list a little bit here. I stayed on one track. The next thing. I'm sorry, guys. It's getting boring, isn't it? I'll try and spice it up here. I can't. I'm not spicy. I'm sorry. I started so when I started my writing journey, I love to jump face first into everything I do. And I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And I generally never really have a plan. So I'm always fixing things as I go along and going back and doing all of that stuff. And the whole writing, publishing, and promoting process was no different. Just flew by the seat of my pants with that. And it ended up pretty well. Lots of mistakes along the way. But one of the greatest things, part of that writing journey was when I started doing the promoting, going to the book events, like especially the multi-author book signing events, meeting other authors. And it was the first time that I'd gotten out of my little bubble. Cause you know how it is writing. It's so isolated. You're in your little bubble. You think you're the only one in this world and nobody can relate to you or understand you. And then you find your tribe, you find all your people who are like, yeah, no, I feel exactly the same way. Or I'm having this trouble too. Or I had this struggle. Here's what you can do. And the community was so embracing and helpful that I felt very fortunate. And what do you do when you feel fortunate and blessed? You want to pay it forward. You want to pass it along and help other people. And one of the things that would happen a lot during these book events is there was always somebody, more than one, that would come up and say, I've always wanted to write a book, but, there was always there was the thing holding them back. And for me, it broke my heart because I was there. I had wanted to write a book for 20 years and I was too chicken to do it or too unknowledgeable as to how to go about it. And so I was like, okay, so it's time to help some people. So that's one of the other things that I get to do. I get to help new and aspiring authors navigate the path to authorship. That's of course the name of my little program, my little one-on-one coaching thing. And it's so great. It's so cool to see somebody go from wannabe, author, to author, to published author, and just to be able to help somebody do that and give them that sense of pride is huge. It's almost, in a way, it's almost better than writing your own books in a way, which I still love doing. So I just ran my mouth so much. I'm sorry.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had fun. I was like, hey, if y'all are bored, I don't know what's wrong with you. She's like gregarious and almost effective with her energy, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I said that correctly. I'm like, wait, is that the word? Yeah, that's the word. That's the word. Effective with her energy.
Do you know what though? That is the most common author thing. I think we are such eloquent writers, but when it comes time to speak, I get so tongue-tied. I'm always going, wait a minute, is that the right word? Is that the word I mean? It's the most bizarre thing, isn't it?
Oh, this morning I was reading what I have written and I was like, dang, yes, that's a cool way to explain that. And then I was like, all right, I'm getting on here to doing it. Oh, no. Speaking is not my forte. Stop that immediately.
So relatable.
It is so nice to hear about, like, it is so much fun to help someone on their path to become an author. And since I am a narcissist, I'm going to tell a story, y'all. And you thought she was boring. Wait till you hear my story. Oh my. So this one time we met someone in a bar because that's where we sell books, the most of our books. And they didn't know who we were. We told them who we were. And then they were like, oh, I'd like to write a book. We said, you should definitely write a book. We stayed in touch. Do you know how many books he has? He has 5 books now. And you know what I'm doing right now? That's why I'm home today, is because I am writing a book with the guy we met in the bar that wrote a book because we said you should write a book.
I love that. I think that's so cool. It's so amazing. And I think I really believe that we are put in the places that we are for a reason. And, that was a reason at least for you guys being where you were at the right time in the right place and to be able to help somebody else and to, and to add to your own journey, which is really cool. I love it. I love it. I just love all of the opportunities and the possibilities that come up, seemingly randomly, but I always think, oh, there's a design and purpose for this. So it's pretty darn cool when something happens and you're like, I did not see that coming, but I'm really glad it happened.
Right? Now,
Yeah.
I've talked about me, which is so sad. I'm going to stop that. So I'm going to talk about you now. And you said that you had this ADHD, and I gotta admit, I agree with you with all the between the TikTok and the path to publishing and, and the path to authorship. And did I hear podcast?
Yes. So I do a podcast as well. I am not as I'm not as prolific as you are with it. I have two podcasts. To your four. You have four, right? Did you say you have four podcasts among all the other things that are absolutely amazing to me? So I have two. One of them is kind of a little bit dormant right now. I still do it, but not nearly as much as the other one. One is for writers. It's the Writers Tribe Talk Show, and I interview. It's mainly geared toward those new and aspiring authors. So it's kind of like so they can get practice at being interviewed, and they can use it as a tool for their marketing, so they can market themselves to bigger podcasts and say, listen, here's a sample of me being interviewed. I don't sound or look like a moron. I can present well and all of those things. So I do that one. And then the other one is very creatively, I'm being sarcastic, called the Elsa Kurt Show. And I wanted to be like super thoughtful and creative with the name. No, not at all. But yeah, so I do that one. That one takes up a bit more time. That's a weekly podcast, and I just took on a co-host because I was getting kind of bored just listening to myself talk. I'm like, you know what? I need somebody to talk to. Now, so and that makes me nosy about you guys. Do you take turns interviewing people, or do you do like conversation type? I don't even know what I mean. Do you guys do your podcast together or
So
separately?
normally it's normally a Jade, but
Okay.
she hasn't been here for a while. She started a whole new business. And
Wow.
so, like, she was here at 2 o'clock. If you caught the 2 o'clock interview, she was here. She was the disembodied voice. Like she was on the other one. Um, but back in the day, it was the two of us. And now I do a lot of the interviews by myself. But we also have the Ladies Tale podcast, which was her baby, which is a narrative episodic podcast. But then on
Ooh.
top of it, we also do interviews with people from Hollywood. We have Meet Hollywood Monday, and that's another interview one. And then the writers class, which is we decided to do a deep dive into writing. So we interview scholarly, like PhD college professors, editors, that sort of thing. And I lied, there is another one.
Oh,
There's the author reality show where we got 4 authors together to fight it out every week
whoa.
for one traditional publishing contract. So
Wow. Oh, that's cool. That's
it looks
very,
fun.
very cool. Yeah. Okay, so I know you're interviewing me, but I have to ask. See, it's
Well,
like
you can ask all these questions on your own podcast. I would be happy to come
I
on.
see, I know. Now I gotta have you on mine. Absolutely. Yes. I know you're super, super busy, but I would love that. But yeah, so are you all completely traditionally published or a little bit of both or one or the other? And
A
what's
little
your
bit of
preference?
both in a way that I had a 3 book contract with a New York publisher. That's
Hmm.
kind of like my second run out. I've been traditionally published since I was 10.
Oh boy. Wow.
Then I self-published at 12. And then okay, I'm gonna leave the long answer for your podcast.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So we are now officially a little bit of both.
That's awesome.
So
Very
yeah,
cool.
we
Because
just
that's
did.
always the question that people always ask. They're like, traditional publishing or self-publishing, what's better? What's blah blah blah? And I mean, the answer I always give is that they both have their pros and cons. Like they both, and it's a matter of, as far as traditional publishing, it's a matter in my mind of how important is it to you to be called traditionally published, to be able to say I'm traditionally published, you know. And to a lot of people, a lot of authors, aspiring authors, that's you know, high on the list of importance, that like I want to be able to say that I'm traditionally published. And that was you know, on my mind for a period of time. I got traditionally published, so same thing, a little bit of both. Actually, I shouldn't say a little bit, primarily self-published with some traditional publishing. And for me, and I'm not telling anybody else what they should do or how they should feel about it. For me, I did not like the traditional publishing experience. And it turns out, here's what I found out about myself, that in 52 years, I probably should have already known this, but I didn't. I'm a control freak. I want all of the say over my creative process, my book. And what happened with the traditionally published books, they are the first two books in my series, which is Welcome to Chance is the series. It's a small town saga. It's kind of like a soap opera, basically. And the first two books are with a traditional publishing company, a small publishing house. And I read my contract. I understood this, but there's always the but. They had full say over my book covers. And I really thought I was fine with that, because I figured, you know, they ask you a lot of questions. They have you do this whole thing of, you know, showing what you imagine the characters to look like. And, you know, I mean, it's very, very thorough, or it seems to be. And when they came back with the covers, it was nothing like what I envisioned, not even close. And of course, I addressed it. I said, you know, this really does not, in my mind, represent what's inside this book. The cover doesn't match what's on the inside. And their response was, well, we know what sells, so this is staying. And I had no say. That was it. And they're beautiful covers. They're just not the right covers. So for me, that was like the big clincher, that like, you know what, not going to do this again. You know, certainly you can negotiate and try and retain that final say and all that stuff. I have no idea, you know, how likely that is to happen. But I'm sure if they want your book enough, they'll make those compromises. I was just excited to get traditionally published and to be able to say I'm traditionally published. But yeah, I love self-publishing. I love the control.
I always find it absolutely hilarious when author goes, I cannot believe it, but I love self-publishing. And I'm like, we control an entire world, like how people respond to things, how they're going to say things, how they feel, how they move. We control multiple people's personalities, individual personalities, and intricacies of that. And you're surprised that you want to control your career.
Right. That is a perfect way to put it too. You're so right. Like, why would that come as a surprise to you? Oh,
fortunately for me, it was like I didn't have a choice because I'm a poet. So I have no choice. No one goes, you know what I really want in my life? What I need on my publishing docket this year is narrative poetry that explains cocktail recipes or how to make a business, or you know what I'm saying? No one goes, right. That's what I'm looking for. They go, what? How'd you do that? And you're like, well, if you publish me, you know, no, just explain it to me. I don't need that.
Right.
Okay, so you have 2 podcasts, and then I've heard the names of 2 books. But what I have not heard are the names of your self-published books.
Oh, sure. So as I mentioned, the series that I did is a 6-book series with a 7th and absolute final. I'm like stomping my fist here. It's the final one coming out maybe sometime next year, I'm thinking. But the series is called Welcome to Chance. It's a small town saga. It follows the lives of 5 families, and it's over the course basically of like 20 years, or technically the first 6 is over the course of like 8 years. And then the last one is going to be revisiting the town 20 years later. And so I love that series with all my heart. I love those characters. You know how it is to fall in love with your characters and be so invested in them. So I actually can't wait to get back to that town and revisit them. But yeah, so it's Maze Cafe. There's 6 out right now. Maze Cafe, Rosabelle's Way, Georgie's Secret, Grady's Promise, Feather Ann's Song, and Coming Home. Yeah, I can't believe I actually was able to just remember all of them like that. I'm so proud of myself right now. It's very exciting for me to have remember anything. And then I have a whole bunch of standalones. And genre wise, they're a bit of a mix. I have there's like a sweet contemporary romance, which is called The Writer's Romance. There's one that's a little spicier called The Awkward Woman's Guide to Divorce, Dating After Divorce. And listen, I'm not saying that anything is autobiographical in any way. Wink, wink. There may be some stories in there that resonate well with me, but are relatable to anybody who's gone through these experiences. But yeah, I always joke and I always say that I kind of grew up with my books. I started off writing some children's books. Then I moved into young adult, which is like the first novel. I'm going to knock everything over if I grab them, and it'll be so embarrassing. But the first actual novel I wrote was actually a young adult novel called Into the Everwood, and it's like a coming of age modern day fairy tale basically. And then I moved into like contemporary women's fiction, and that was kind of where I settled. That's kind of where I stayed in for the most part. But who knows, you know, the ADHD, I'm gonna bounce around to wherever. I have grandbabies now. I have 2 grandbabies and a third one on the way, so I actually need to get back into writing some children's books specifically for them. So yeah, that's it. But they're, you know, the deal. They're all available on Amazon. There, you can get to them through my website, which is elsakurt.com. I'm all over that gosh darn social media. I'm it's the Elsa Kurt Show, author Elsa Kurt. Where else? I'm on all of them. I'm easy. I think I'm pretty easy to find. If you just type into the Google, as my mother would say, in the Google. My mother loves to ask the Google everything, like everything. Let me ask the Google. So yeah, if you ask the Google, as my mom would say, she's going to be so mad that I just did that to her. But yeah, you can find me everywhere. It's like super easy.
Yeah, you can find her everywhere. I just did a quick search just to be like, let me make sure I have all my up to date stuff. And there was so much stuff on Google. I was like, the Google needs to be more selective.
Yes. Yeah, Google needs to tone it down a bit. You don't have to be showing everybody every single thing. It's yeah, can they not?
So I think I'm going to ask the question that every author wants to know. Well, there's 3 questions that every author wants to know, but I'm going to start with the one that most of the people I know want to know. How do you make TikTok work for you? Because it's 3.1 million views.
Yes, yeah, it's a little bonkers. So I think a lot of it is trial and error, as far as what works in your niche, who you're aiming to reach really. And you know, I think our instinct is to always think, well, I want to reach everybody. I want everybody to see my stuff. And that's not the answer. You really have to like hone it down and get really specific on who you're trying to reach. And that probably sounds counterproductive in some ways. But I promise you, it's not. It really will help people find you, the people that you want to find you. The things I say about TikTok, number one, now us authors, we're generally there's a lot of extroverts. I don't want to rule out the extroverts, but there's a lot of introverts in our little author community. And putting ourselves out there is really, really hard. And if you're going to do it in this lane on TikTok, you have to have a thick skin. You got to be tough, and you can't take things personally because people are people and some of them are not very nice, and they will say not nice things just because they can, and that's unfortunate. but you know, you can't take anything personally, you can't take anything hard. So that would be like, if an author came to me and said, hey, I think I want to do TikTok, tell me, you know, give me kind of the lowdown. That's always the first thing I tell them. You have to have a thick skin, and you have to be authentic. So that would be the next thing. Be authentic, do what's true to you. If you're not comfortable sitting in front of the camera, you know, and I know a lot of people think that you have to do like silly dances and all of these things. You don't have to do any. You don't have to do the dances, you don't have to do the challenges, you don't have to do any of that stuff. If you want to just sit down and read a few pages from your book, you know, every week or whatever, consistency is key. Keep doing, you know, just keep posting, which is exhaustive, I know, to a lot of people. Like when you say, you know, when somebody asks me how often do you post like on TikTok? Well, I make an average of 1 to 6 videos a day. So I post almost every day. I give myself a break, usually Saturday and Sunday. I take a little break, especially Sunday. That's the day of rest. So I take my break, and but yeah, the rest of the week I'm hitting it pretty hard. And for me specifically, because that was technically your question. You're like, how did you know? Because I have right now, oh boy, I think the last look, I think I have about 206,000 followers over on I think that's right, something around there, over on TikTok. And a lot of the stuff that I do is comedic sketches, social commentary. So I keep up on, you know, what's going on in the world, and I try and keep it kind of neutral, um, but also in asking questions. That's a big key. So no matter what you post, really, if you're asking people to engage, ask them questions. And so if you're going on there as solely as an author, you're like, I don't want to do dances, I don't want to do skits or any of these silly things that you're talking about, Elsa. I just want to go on there and, you know, get people to know me, to buy my books and do all of that stuff. Um, it's a matter of the consistency and just posting things that are relevant to you, and sharing it in unique, interesting ways, and just keep at it, just keep doing it. That, yeah, I think that's like the biggest advice. But yeah, it's
So funny
crazy.
'cause, I think people who watch the show know that we have talent managers.
Mhm.
So like one of our talent manager friends came to us and was like, I want to help you. You need to get a bigger social media presence. And the first thing they said is post every day at the same time. Don't, like, if you're going to skip 2 days, make sure that like your audience knows from the get-go it's going to be Monday through Friday. That is it. And you have to be there Monday through Friday. If you choose 9 a.m., that's when it's posted. And I
Mhm.
was like, this seems hard. No, thank you. Um,
Yeah, I get it. I get
I
it.
mean, it's easier for me to be like, every Friday there's going to be a video that was already pre-recorded. Popping
Right, right.
and like
And but
people
you
to
know, but
that's
that's
fine.
actually, yeah, that's actually part of the beauty now too, though, that you can like schedule out your post. You can do that now. So the only trick of that for TikTok is you have to, if you're going to schedule your posts, you have to do it from your laptop or your desktop, whatever you're using. You can't schedule them from your phone. At least not. I'm an Android user. I know everybody makes fun of us, but I definitely can't do it from there. Maybe iPhones you can. I don't know, but I know that you can schedule them from your computer, which is, you know, that's a lifesaver, because I'll sit in the morning and I'll schedule out posts for all of my social media, and they go out, and I get to go about my day, and I'll pop in and respond to comments. And that's actually another big thing. When people do comment, you do, like, they say, like, respond to the first commenters, like the first 5 or 10 commenters, respond, acknowledge them, and they end up, and it's true, I have people that have been with me essentially from the beginning, and you know, they're always faithfully, you know, they throw a comment in, and I always make sure that I respond to them at the very least. And yeah, and even start the conversation, throw a comment in to start it and see what people say. But yeah, definitely, people love to share their thoughts and opinions. So I think that would be my biggest thing. I would say, like, if you're going to post a video, um, I did this one time on Facebook, and maybe this will help an author out there who's, struggling right now just to get noticed out there. I I was struggling coming up with a name for my lead character. I was torn between two names, and I put it out to my following. I said, all right, guys, I need your help. I need you to pick the name of my character. And that post, this is going back quite a while now, but that post went crazy. It got so much response, especially in comparison to anything else that I had ever posted. And that was kind of like the light bulb moment, like, okay, all right, people, they want to engage, they want to give their opinion, they want to tell you what they think. So yeah, if you're going to make videos, ask them something. If you're writing a book right now, get on there and ask them a question like, all right, I need your help. And people all of a sudden they put on their superhero capes and they're like, I'm ready to help.
This is good information for me as well, and I'm sure it's great information for everyone out there, because I think we get asked about TikTok quite a bit at conferences. Like, what do you do for the TikTok? And I'm like, we suck. That's what we do for the TikTok. We're terrible at it. Terrible at it. And they're like, you can't be that bad. And I'm like, it's an educational channel. It's like
I
the
hear you.
of writing books.
Yeah. Oh,
literally talking about writing books. But anyway,
I love it.
I love how you've done, especially your comedic sketches are quite humorous. Thank you for those.
Thank you. Some people
So,
don't think so. I get people mad at me, but you know, it's all in good fun. It's all in good humor. And I don't care. I'm not a fan of mean comedy. Just lighthearted stuff. You know, some people don't like it though. And that's okay. Can't be everybody's cup of tea, right?
Nope. You're not a pizza. Not everyone's
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
So now comes to the second question everyone loves to know is, how did you get your literary agent and or publishing deal?
Yeah, so mine was kind of goofy, to be honest with you. Well, I guess I shouldn't call it goofy. It's not goofy. It was just kind of a random thing. Somebody, an acquaintance on Facebook, I think it was, had posted that she had gotten her publishing contract, and she was her first one. She was very excited, and she put the name of the publishing company, and I had just happened to, just on a whim, I had already so here's a funny fact. Those first two books in that series that I mentioned, I had actually already self-published them. They were already out. And I looked up this publishing company, and they were looking for submissions. And so they're not, so I know you know this, of course, but maybe some of the people not watching, unless you have a literary agent, you can't submit your books as an author. You can't submit your books to the big publishing houses. They won't even look at it. So smaller publishing houses, a lot of them, you know, their websites will tell you if they accept direct, I'm drawing a blank on the word, direct submissions. And so this one did, they accepted direct submissions. So I submitted the first book, or a portion thereof, with the caveat that, just so you know, I actually have this published already, self-published, and they responded within hours with a contract and said, we want it, you know, condition, of course, being that you take it off of, you know, I had to pull it off of Amazon and unpublish it and all of those things. And that's what we did. And we went with it. So, and then I was able to retain the rights for the rest of the series, which was, for me, it was a better thing. And they were great. They had the right of first refusal, and it worked out perfect. But yeah, but that was how I got my first one. I just reached out and took a chance on it. And yeah, so unless somebody is dead set on the big five, you know, no literary agent. I did, you know, I went a little back and forth on that. Did I want a literary agent? Did I want to go through that? Because same process, you're sending queries, you know, it's queries. And that can be, for a lot of people, it can be very disheartening, because you typically get a lot of rejections before you get a maybe, or before you ever even get a yes. So, and that's not to deter anyone from doing that whatsoever. I'm not the naysayer. I'm not the one that says, don't do it, you'll regret it. No, do whatever you think you need to do to be fulfilled.
I'm gonna add a little bit of advice here.
Please.
So for my 10-year-old self, you know, like whenever I got a query letter rejection, my parents would take me out for ice cream and or And the worse the rejection, the more I got. So like if it like one time someone just wrote the word no. So I got ice cream and cake. So if you're gonna go this route, as my friend who is an actor said, the best way to prepare for being an actor and getting that rejection in the casting room is by being an author, because they're meaner.
I love that. That's brilliant. I love that.
So if you're gonna go the traditional route and you want the big five, I suggest you figure out your treat.
I love that.
Need it.
You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it, man. It's all part of that thick skin that we have to have, right? And it really is. And I'll tell you what, for anyone watching and listening who's, you know, at the beginning of this journey or somewhere early in it, and they're getting discouraged and they're getting you know, disappointed and God forbid considering quitting. First of all, don't you dare do that. Second of all, there is nothing greater than rejection. And I'll tell you why. It teaches you how tough you are, and it teaches you what you're made of. So, and if you think like if you're right now, you're curled up in a ball and rocking and heartbroken that you got a rejection letter or somebody told you that your work sucks or something awful, you're still here. You're actually okay. Like you're actually fine. And if that's the worst thing that happened, that somebody didn't like you or didn't like what you did, it's not the end of the world. You're okay, you know, and there's going to be somebody that does. I mean, you ever want to pep yourself up, just go down the list of look at all of the people who went through such horrible rejection. Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Seuss. I mean, the list is so long. There's the first two names that came to my mind, but that list is so long. Stephen King has a phenomenal story of his rejections, how he would put him on a spike. He had like a railroad tie, or not a tie, a railroad spike. I don't even know what it's called. And he had it dug into his bedroom wall, I think it was, and every rejection letter back when we were getting letters instead of emails, and he would just stack them up on this spike, and you know, it was to the point where there was no more space left on it, and to the point where I think it was Carrie. I think it was his book Carrie that he had actually thrown in the garbage pail, like literally thrown it in the garbage pail, and his wife took it out and submitted it, and that was the one. And that was like a $40,000 advance and the beginning of you know, his incredible career. So just don't be discouraged. That's all.
And then I'm gonna put in a caveat warning. So when you do meet that one special author, like one of my favorite authors, who she wrote a book, turned it in, and they went, not for me, but I know somebody else. Actually, I lied. That's the other author. That's my other favorite author. That for me, that was for somebody else. And now he has his auto, like he has an amazing career. My favorite author turned it in. They loved it. Then they turned it into an audiobook. And now she's a best-selling author. First thing she's ever written.
Look at
it took about 9 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Right. Like I think like the moral of the story is, you know, pun intended, I guess, is that your worst moment might be your best story at some point. So, you know, put it in your pocket and, you know, get ready to share it, because you're going to you'll be doing a victory lap. So, you know, at some point, you know, you just have to trust that that's the case. So yeah, as you can see, this is kind of my favorite thing. I love to you know, sneak opportunities to just encourage people to pursue, you know, the things that they want to pursue, whether it's writing or anything else, doing that TikTok video, you know, whatever it is. Life is too short to miss opportunities.
Exactly. I think you said like, oh, we could all blame COVID for understanding that now. I remember I was watching a show and they were like, I know what show, but I'm not going to say what it was. But was watching a show and they were saying what COVID has taught us right now is that we do not have as much control over our life as we thought we did. And they gave the example of like, can you imagine not knowing that it was going to like rain tomorrow? Like we always know the weather.
Right.
A generalization of the weather. They're like, couple 100 years ago, they didn't know. It was just absolutely surprising. It caught them off. But like, down to that, we know what's going to go happen in our life, most likely tomorrow.
Yeah.
COVID was like, hey, you don't have as much control as you think, and it makes you reevaluate. Granted, my reevaluation was already in what I was doing, so
yeah, I mentioned the whole introvertism. I am a hardcore introvert, so when they're like, stay home, I was like, boo. You got me. Wow, that's such a bummer. Sorry, can't go anywhere, gotta stay home.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm sorry to make light of COVID. I know, I know, but that part of it for someone like me and anyone else like me with that introvert gene, telling us to stay home was like I was going to do it anyway. So
pretty much, and not to mention, like, now that COVID's over, I'm still kind of doing it. So
yeah. Oh my God, same. I work from home, everything I do from home. I mean, it's, I have to like mentally psych myself up to go out anywhere. And now, I mean, they make it so easy to stay home. I got my groceries delivered. I get my milk. This is such a weird random thing to say in an interview, but I get my milk delivered from the milkman. It's actually called the milkman, and they in the glass bottles, and it's local, and it's, I mean, it's so silly. I can't even know why I just mentioned that. It's so dumb, but
okay, first
yeah,
of all,
it's the little things.
That service had gone away for the very
Yeah.
and I refuse to date myself. I'm just gonna say that I have an old town. So I'm not old, the town is old. Therefore the service.
There you go.
So
Oh.
like when it went away and then it came back during COVID, you were like, I don't even drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant. And I signed up just to see it come to my house.
It's so cool.
So freaking cool. And gave it to my neighbors, obviously.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh man, I love it. That's so awesome.
Okay. So okay, at this point, I think it's about time to like pretty much wrap this up, right? I
Yes,
think
ma'am. I think so, huh? I know. Authors, what can I say? We could just talk about this stuff all day long. But yes, absolutely.
So can you tell everyone where they can find your books and also where they can listen to the podcast?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So everything, if the easiest thing to do probably is to go to elsakurt.com, ELSAKURT.com. And that has everything, and more than you even want to know, probably, but it has everything, all of my links, my bio, if you want to know a little of my background and where this crazy chick came from and what her deal is. It's all in there. And Amazon, all of my books are on Amazon. Podcast is on all of the podcasting sites. We do same thing, video and audio. So all of your podcast listening apps, whether it's iTunes, Amazon, blah, 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 all those guys, you can find it on all of them. It's the Elsa Kurt Show and also the Writers Tribe Talk Show. And they're on YouTube and gosh, I don't know where else, probably other places too, but definitely those ones. But yeah, elsakurt.com. That's the easiest place to find me.
Okay, and if it would work a little faster, I was going to tell you like what the latest person was for the Writers Tribe Talk Show.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
I'm sorry. I'm actually drawing a blank because I'm awful. I have
Lynn
somebody.
Goldner.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Oh, she was lovely. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, she's got some great books out. She's just a wonderful, and she's another one. And again, talk about the writer community. She's another one that helps aspiring authors too. So yeah, I mean, there's so much help out there for anybody doing what we do or wanting to do what we do.
I'm not gonna admit, I'm not gonna lie. Like that was one of the reasons that I asked to interview in the first place because I listened to that interview and then I said, "Oh, I gotta listen to some more." And then I was like, "Oh, let me go look at it." By the time I finished looking at stuff, I was like, "All right, look, I gotta send the email." Like I gotta.
I'm
ask.
so grateful you did. I'm so grateful you did. I love talking with you. You are absolutely awesome. And I'll be checking out more of your show, sharing it over to my stuff as well. This was so much fun for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us. I don't know why I always say us because I'm used to Jade either being on my right or my left, which feels weird because like when she's here, she's like got so many funny things to say. And she stops me for saying ridiculous things. But anyway. I'm Winona, one of the Anti-Thought Ladies. You can find out everything that your ladies are up to at www.antithoughladies.com. While you're there, go down to the middle of the page, not the bottom of the page, but the middle of the page, and you can see the 3 charities that we proudly support. We ask that you consider giving them a little support as well. That does not have to be money. It can be time, resources, or knowledge. We thank you in advance for this. And remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade.